afternoon. We're gonna kick it off here, and feel free to raise your hand and come say hi. Gravy, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, Coder Dan? Doing well.
Good. Enjoying your Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been hard to get used to these newer. The newer time since daylight savings been a while, but I still adjusting for the Saturday mornings.
It's been like what, the two months?
It's been a while.
Very nice.
By the time I think about the Saturday hangout, it's like 9 a.m. So like the first several weeks, I was like, oh shoot, I keep missing these things.
Right. I see Yannick chilling, Gotchinomics, let's go Bankless. Lots of friends. Hey everyone. Feel free if you want to come up and say hi or talk about something, feel free to raise your hand. Actually, Gotchinomics, I was going to ask you, how is the game coming? I know you guys are working super hard on the Gotchi miners, but I'm super curious how that's going. I don't think we're not recording this yet. I guess No Futuristic is probably still becoming social.
Coming back to life.
Yeah. But I'm in the middle of reading this Looking Handsome just posted like a huge post on the DAO discussion forum. Super cool. Breaking down different archetypes and traits and his thought process for the user research that he's done. Really interesting post here. I won't be able to read. I won't be able to finish it on this this call here, but I don't know if he's out there, I would love to hear about it, his thoughts.
Zombie Shepherd streaming and recording.
Okay, great. Very cool.
Okay, do you have your link? Zombie Shepherd, I want to check it out.
Yeah. Gotchinomics says game is going pretty well. Share some screenshots later on. That'd be great. I'm looking, really want to see how things are progressing on that, because with the Gotchiverse launch coming up soon, we're gonna be making a big push, and if you guys have a game also ready at the similar time, that would be even better. We could do a people if they're not if they don't want to play the Gotchiverse for some reason, they would have another option. That'd be super interesting.
I gotta go check out the bazaar, my daily ritual.
Pet the Gotchis. You guys all pet your Gotchis yet?
Oh yeah.
I've been spending a lot of time recently working on this new landing page that we're coming up with. I shared a little preview of it the other day, but it's we're way overdue for a fresh landing page to help people understand. There's just so much about Aavegotchi to help them understand. So it's really about finding that perfect balance between kind of introducing it and also getting them hooked and wanting to learn more.
Without overwhelming somebody.
Without overwhelming. Like, hey, you can go get involved in Aavegotchi DAO. Come discuss game mechanics with us.
There's so much room for activity.
It really is. But we have such a great foundation of everyone here. Probably one of the most like hardcore communities in crypto. I would say we could almost rival like the Bitcoin community in how like passionate everyone is. It's really cool to see that on like the DAO discussion forum and the voting. Yannick's great posts. Love you, Yannick. If anyone wants to come up, feel free to raise your hand, bring you up. We're waiting for a no futuristic as well to come up, fixing a technical issue. Yannick, you don't want to come up for a few minutes and say what we can talk about how to implement your idea. I know there's been okay, he's having dinner. Maybe later.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hey.
Hey,
Yep.
What's up, man?
Hey, sorry, yeah, I'm trying to get this. Like, I tried something new when we did our rehearsal recording, so that I can capture audio directly from the computer. But for some reason, it's not working today, so I got to play around with it more.
How's that rehearsal going? I heard. I don't know how much you want to speak on that, but now it's a little alpha leak on your end.
Yeah, yes. It went well. I was pleasantly surprised by the actors, especially
Okay.
one craft CEO. I mean, employee who impressed me with his portrayal of a great liquidator. So it was impressive.
Yeah, I was a drama kid back in high school a little bit. I never got a big role, but I was I did a little bit of drama back in the day.
Well, it's your time to shine now.
Yeah.
So that somebody got cast as the liquidator?
Yeah, they cast me as the great liquidator.
Right. I don't know if we wanted to just dox the position you got cast at, but so I'm excited to hear the liquidator, what your thought process is behind the characteristics of the.
Oh yeah, I've put so
the
much
sound
thought
of the liquidator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been studying it.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's got a different perspective of what they think it's going to sound like. So it'll be interesting to hear.
I feel like I brought a British accent to it. Did I? It sounded... That's what I was doing. I'm like, I don't know how to do a bad guy accent, so it just sounded like your typical evil British villain.
I don't know how to do a bad guy, so I'll just add a British accent to it.
Pretty much.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, it worked. Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
When in doubt, just go with the transatlantic evil bad guy voice. Yeah, I'm sure Coyote could do a good evil Brit too. No, I don't even know where I picked that voice up. I'm not gonna do it again.
I thought it worked.
Can you do it again?
I don't know. I have to look at the script and be inspired. It just came out of me, you know.
Hey, no futuristic. Are you guys recording are you guys making a video out of this, or is this a audio recording?
It's an audio recording that we did, but I also did video, like a screen capture of the script itself as we went along with it. But the idea will be to, I guess eventually we want to, we have been lagging working on a storyboard, like the visuals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we would love to eventually get it animated, but we're trying to get just the base parts of it down so that we can put up a proper grant proposal.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we've been working with Web on it, and he's been coaching us on the proposal, filling out the grant, and then kind of what we need to get things done. Yeah, there you go. Look at that liquidator in the chat.
Oh man, okay. Dang, I wish I could draw like that.
Yeah, Bin Laden, if you can you drop him? I guess the first adept, which is my role in this piece. I love the way he drew up these gotchis. Also, Bin Laden, if you want to jump on stage, yeah, there you go. Throw up your hand.
Oh,
yeah, that looks nice.
Yeah, those look amazing. Yeah, awesome. Hey, everyone.
Hey,
how's it going?
I almost mistook you for Nucky there, but
yeah, I thought that was Nucky all of a sudden.
Hey there.
I think we've got about 25 million of us, so yes, I am Nucky.
We're all Nucky.
It's been a while since Nucky came on. That's great. How are you, Crypto Godfather?
I'm very good. I'm starting to get so keen for the Gotchiverse that I accidentally bought another Gotchi during the week.
Oopsie daisy. I accidentally bought several of the same wearables. On purpose, I guess.
That staple ready.
Yeah, I've been.
Well, I mean, like I'm not. The animal skins are just too cool, and they're too like affordable. I got one for each of my Gotchis.
Yeah, nice. Well, this new one's got nothing, naked. So yeah, I need to start thinking exactly what I need to grab, and which do I want portal mages or do I want, et cetera, et cetera.
That's a whole nother financial commitment. Which one can we do? I want to be in the portal mages real bad.
Yeah, was lucky enough to get a few in District 1, so I've got a spacious and reasonable and a few other bits and pieces. So, I can, I've got the land, but not the wearables yet. But now I've actually got a Gotchi that has the traits that would make sense to get those type of wearables. So,
Yeah, those are like what, energy, aggression, and spook, I think. So
yeah,
you'll be moving.
exactly.
You'll be moving faster. You'll be doing a little bit more damage, and we'll have more ethereality with the current traits. That'll be neat.
Yeah. So one of the Gotchis I've been working on lately is going to be the slowest, fattest Gotchi in the Gotchiverse. It's going to be able to carry so much stuff, but be so slow. I'll have to hire a Pastia.
That's going to be like a very, I think it'll be a pretty coveted role, because if you can gain reputation as like, it's kind of like an OTC Gotchi, right? Like,
yeah.
They'll be like, yo, I'm going to drop some Alchemica off. Like, give it to me. Can you just bring it over to my place?
Yeah, it's going to be like running. It's going to be like you're going to formulate an offensive line around a running back and try to get a touchdown.
Yeah. I think it'll be if you have good cred in the community, people know you. Be like, this guy, he won't just disconnect and steal your Aavegotchi, your Alchemica. He'll bring it to you. It'll take a while, but he'll eventually get there.
We need some bodyguard sets.
Yeah, out in the grid, especially. Yeah, you're gonna need the whole brigade. Like a guild will have like one or two Gotchis around, like that'll be moving slow, and then they'll have like runners. That's actually gonna happen, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna be the guy that's just trying to chug my way across the Gotchiverse.
Well, I've been thinking about having two computers going at the same time with two different Gotchis that are complete polar opposites. So I've got.
Are you ambidextrous where you can use both hands at the same time?
Not a chance in hell. So I don't know how that's going to work, but there's dreams. This one I got this week has got energy 97, aggression 92, spookiness 82. It's got 96 eye shape and 3 for eye color, so looks pretty cool. Like it's but yeah, so I'll have to get that energy to 99 or 100, etc., and try and get that aggression up there as well. And yeah,
that's cool. I mean, I'm excited to see how like the I don't know how to say this because I think they're all awesome, but the more mediocre stats I think will still do pretty well if we can gauge them. Well, I guess it's a lot different to gauge them with mini games because they're not the official traits, the trait mapping. But in some of the mini games, my more average Gotchi performed so much better than the other ones. But I guess now that we have the official trait mappings out, it'll be interesting to see what each one is capable of doing.
Yeah, and the ranged attacks, and how much you can zoom in. I think was one of them, Dan. If I heard that correctly, yeah.
So like you'll be able to. some of the gotchis, it's gonna be like you have tunnel vision. Like you'll be able to see a little bit, but you're gonna kind of be blind, but you're gonna handle better. You'll have really, really nice handling. You'll be able to accelerate and decelerate like on a dime, like a Tesla.
You're just not going to know where you're going.
you're gonna need to like either kind of know the map or follow someone or you'll probably want to be following someone who knows where they're going.
Do you think that we could, because we do have eye wearables, do you think any of the utility of those eye wearables might be to like improve vision?
Let me think. Possibly, but we don't really like. I don't like messing with the eyes because they are supposed to be pretty fixed. So I don't think we'll be having any like wearables that. Well, they won't change eye color or eye shape, but they might change the traits a little bit. Like they might be able to improve the zoom range or the handling.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Also, the black gotchi that I'm showing, I have it up on screen because it's just jumping. It's been jumping here for a few minutes. It looks dope as hell, but like I don't know if it's a UI mistake or just my computer's freaking out, but it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, my Daigotchi is looking just fine. I don't know. And it looks like you have like way thicker lines.
Yeah, it's thick.
Yeah, I want to like refresh, but I don't want to lose it at the same time.
Yeah.
Right click save, man.
Let's see. Let's refresh it. And the gotchi is loading.
And it's gone.
Yeah, it's still loading. So I think it might just be my connection, but we're also broadcasting this fine. So
that is pretty weird. I've never seen that happen. But I just loaded it on my side. Looks fine. Nice stoner eyes. The boomer what's it? Doomer eyes.
oh, I don't know if we've addressed this in a hangout yet, but there was a talk of a potential like a small Haunt 3 or Haunt 2A or something like that, where we release a certain number of AM Ghost gotchis. Is that something that we would do, or like?
Yeah, that's up to you guys. Yeah, it's if someone wants to make a vote and do it, we have AM Ghost pretty much ready to go. If anyone, if we think it's I don't know if it's totally necessary at this point, because we are kind of in a low point as far as we're in an awkward point between the game launching and just all the different stuff happening. So might just it could be. I saw someone saying you could maybe like trade in a gotchi or something. Or something about minting like for certain gotchi holders they would get one, but I didn't. I was almost passing out as I was reading that, so I kind of forgot.
Are you saying you don't have enough to do at the moment, Dan, and that you need more work to do? Is that how I'm reading it?
Yeah, we only have like 5 contracts that are being written and under audit. We could definitely need more now. But that's I mean a haunt a haunt isn't just minting the gotchis, it's also promoting it and getting lots of publicity for it and all that. It's a big thing. So
yeah, and like seriously, I'm gonna have to struggle having 2 machines going. I don't need 3 or 17. You know what I mean?
Needed is a word to think about. I don't know. I got as many devices connected as possible, which is also something I don't want to be doing myself. But
so I've got a server with 40 threads, 768 gig of RAM. So yeah, I can run a few virtual machines on it.
That's cool.
Yeah, let's yeah. So I could go a little bit crazy. I could. Like I actually plot Chia in RAM. You need 416. 416 to do it in RAM. So I just went 768.
There you go. What's your experience with that? Is that pleasant, or is that like if you were to do it all over again, would you?
When the price was $1,500, awesome.
Yeah.
The price is $80.
Yeah.
But in the future, it may, it may go well. Who knows? There's no usability at the moment. So if they can port over many other protocols to it, which I think is potential over time. I think there's definitely a push to be greener. There's definitely a lot less. I mean, I mine all sorts of crypto, so I know how much energy gets used for that compared to doing Chia, and Chia is hardly anything, ones and blocks and the rest of it. So, I know so there's definitely, I mean, of course I've got solar and batteries and all that sort of thing as well. So it's not like I'm chewing up coal or something, but yeah. I think in the future, I think it could get there, but it could be a long way away because I haven't done a lot of action recently. So, so the quick answer is no. I wouldn't have spent tens of thousands of dollars on crazy servers and hundreds of hard drives and all the rest of it. Yeah.
I have a fascination with all that. I mine as well, and I just like to basically like plant the seed and watch it grow with as many different things as I can, and it's always good to hear like or have that question answered. Like, would you do it all over again if you had to do it, or if you wanted to do it now? And I appreciate that answer because now I'm not going to get stuck in that because I've definitely looked how to start, hard drive mining and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you've already got the drives and you're not going to spend any money on it, it's worth doing for sure.
Right.
But if you're going to throw $100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 at it, don't at the moment. And hey, if you want some plots done, I can make some plots and just send them to you.
Right.
If you've got some spare drive. But in reality, if you've got like 5 terabytes free, you're going to fit like 45 plots in it. So your machine will do a few plots a day or 5 plots a day anyway. So within a week or a few weeks, you're full anyway. So you don't actually need crazy servers to actually do it. But anyway, we're digressing a bit off the crazy Gotchiverse anyway. I had a re-listen to the last week's weekly call as well. It was it was cool. I enjoyed last week live, but about an hour and a half ago I was itching for the weekly call, so I thought, all right, I'll listen again. So thanks heaps for recording it. Always no futuristic. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, anytime. This is one of the first weeks that I actually I went to sleep at 11 p.m. So I'm well rested.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. When do we think the next chapter of the Bible will come out?
Slated for February. We're doing a lot of work on a lot of the tokenomics for the GACs and Wearable, the Wearable traits pool. So February's it'll be another action-packed month for sure for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I read the last chapter twice, and I still feel like I have to read it another 5 times to fully grasp all of the information that was provided. So I remember we had a conversation on a hangout. I was asking people, how long do you think this document's going to be? And I felt like that one by itself already beat out everybody's expectations in terms of pages. So that's amazing.
It was so long. I don't know if it'll be the longest. It probably will be, but it's definitely up there. Took a lot of preparation to prep that baby, but totally worth it.
I personally love it because I was my friends, normie friends, people who are not into all of this stuff. I was showing them the distribution of the Alchemica, and then talking about how there's a legit plan for a 30-year distribution. It's that's amazing. There's no I don't know of any other game that's organizing their tokenomics like that, so that you could see it kind of out into the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the thought process that went into that, it's if you look at a lot of these MMORPGs, they're still going today from like 20 years ago. EVE Online is a great example, RuneScape. And so we don't want to cut things short by like giving out all the tokens and then and be like, that was fun. That was a good 5 years, guys. Let's move on to the next thing. So the idea is to have some, like, we're not going on the Bitcoin timeline, which is like 150 years or 120 years, but 30 years. Obviously, the torch will probably be passed between multiple parties in that time. Could be me. It could be who the DAO will be kind of in charge of it. Won't be probably like one individual controlling it, which is the idea. We want this to be like a DAO-owned project that'll outlive everyone. So that's why we are putting it on such a time frame like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. It really is.
Hey guys.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, good morning.
No futuristic, wondering, like, you know how you were commenting, it is a lot to digest with chapter 2 or reread. What kind of like other content around the chapter as published would be useful, you think, for dissecting it and breaking it into maybe more chewable portions?
Well, I was telling Webb during our ambassadors call that I think it would be great if someone sat down and like I was thinking of doing it myself, but there's only so many quests I can do a month. Like breaking it down to like a series of 5 or 6 videos, short 2-3 minute videos that like kind of explain each part. It could be a longer video that you chop up into 6, like a mini part series thing where it's easier to like distribute via Twitter, Reddit, stuff like that. And you guys have been doing it with the visuals on your videos, so it would make sense.
Yeah, we gotta do more Gotchi type videos. Those have been coming out quite nicely, but I think to date most of the Gotchi videos are more about Aavegotchi as it is today, like the traits that have already existed, and not so much about Gotchiverse. But that's got to be definitely coming soon. Yeah, breaking it into small pieces would definitely help. I think it could be at least 3 pieces. There's traits, there's tokenomics and all that, but maybe, I guess you're saying even smaller, like 2 parts on tokenomics, 2 parts on the new traits, something like that.
Yeah, because I'm like, my goal now is like Crypto Godfather saying he went back last week and he's listening to the recording of this. It's like these recordings are like 2.5-3 hours long, and we get a lot of information there. But I've also, one of the struggles I've seen with new onboarding people is that it's a lot of information to digest. So my goal has been to make these short videos that are much easier to like kind of deliver to people, that they can invest like a minute or 2, and if they want to go down the rabbit hole, then go further. So it could be a summary video of the Bible chapter, where it just like basically like, think of like a cheesy infomercial, but not infomercial, but like something you would give to like people at a workplace, where it's like, this is like the general idea. Here are the points. For more information, go here. But like kind of summarize everything concisely.
Are we going to get the steak knives though? Because you're going to do infomercial. You've got to get the steak knives. Wait, there's more.
But there's more.
Sale on their QVC stuff.
We'll get Laurie.
I've got to say, those Gotchi videos are really cool. I've watched just about all of them, and I've shared them around with my investment group, and people love them. Like, just bite-sized bits. You're 100% right and futuristic. People can just get their minds blown away if it's too long. But yeah, a few minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever the number is. But yeah, short bite-sized bits.
Yeah, and I'd say the videos that Gotchi has been putting out are perfect in that sense, because they should, at this point, it's onboarding, which is the most, like, it's the biggest aspect that we have to focus on, I think, in a lot of ways. So by having these videos that are like geared at like, this is just the basic of what layer of what this is, and we can go deeper and deeper as we go, like a university would, is perfect.
Yeah. Quick aside on the university stuff. It's weird how like the universe works. So, we just started these Gotchi series and thinking about universities, and like there's this academic onboarding potential for interacting with Aavegotchi as like the protocol, right? Like kind of like the grants program. I was thinking the other day it'd be really cool if like, you know, a university program stepped up in computer science and started working with Aavegotchis. So we should do more of that. And suddenly yesterday I got a call at Berkeley in California. They want to have some mentorship for their computer science program, and they want Aavegotchi to be a part of it. So I was just like, holy cow, this is crazy. So
that's awesome. That's awesome, man. Harvard, Berkeley, places like that. That's to already have Berkeley knocking on the door. That's nice, Jesse.
Isn't it crazy? I was just thinking about it the other day, like, oh, Gotchi U, we should like be working with universities, and literally like within 48 hours, Berkeley emails. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, computer science and finance or economics. This would be perfect. Like,
yeah, that's a good point. Even the finance side, absolutely. That's the DeFi aspect and like the new economy, and yeah, absolutely. I got a nephew that's like, he's a finance major at university right now, and we were talking about, and he of course finds it very, very much related, and he's just like, I can't believe none of this is being discussed in my classrooms, and like, it's kind of seems like it's going to be a big deal. So,
yeah, Berkeley's kind of a big deal.
That's a bit of a big deal.
That's a nice one to have reach out.
Yeah, it's they said the other it's like a mentorship program, kind of like Tachyon or some of the other. It's Berkeley's students, and it's going to be. We were invited, as well as they mentioned like someone from Binance, someone from Bitcoin.com, and a few others. So it was just the professor reaching out directly, but it sounds fantastic. So, more Gotchi love. Gotchi at Berkeley.
I feel strongly that this project could be used educationally for children, like in terms of, because a lot of schools, like especially in the U.S. At younger ages, don't really teach children like economics, basic accounting, like stuff like that very early on that could help like in life getting ready as you free up as an adult. So I think this could be a really good tool for teaching children.
Yeah, and it's not even that, and not just that too. It's also like teaching kids responsibility. Like a lot of times families get a family pet, so it teaches their child how to take care of something. And if you don't take care of it, it'll die or something. And so it's like a digital version of responsibility for a child also, which it kind of just has a whole bunch of awesome aspects to it, obviously.
Yeah, like I have my son here with me for the weekend, and I've been showing him the Aavegotchi, and I'm like, I'm going to send you one, but I was like, we need to sit down and have like a full conversation about like internet security, because you can't be just clicking around on the internet with like, if you have this like, on a hot wallet, like this is going to be, or I have to teach him how to use a ledger, which will be the next step.
Got to have the talk.
Yeah.
I think
the sus butterfly talk.
Literacy. Oh, you go.
I'm sorry. I was just adding to the conversation by adding the sus butterfly talk.
Yes.
I think financial literacy is so important, and it's so lacking in just about all educational settings. The real in-depth stuff of what we actually need to do to set our lives up is, so the more we can, help in that process, awesome.
Yeah, the other way we can educate is more memes. What Crypto Godfather, you just mentioned, like, you got to have the steak knives, right? Somebody with more skills than me, that would be a really cool video meme to see. Some gotchis on like Home Shopping Network. I don't know how exactly it'd go down, but I feel like there might be something very humorous there. And
Someone
also
get us on Shark Tank.
Yeah, I think what Mark Cuban said, like 80% of his investments outside of Shark Tank are crypto related. But then I think Shark Tank must be a no in it.
Cuban would love us for sure.
Yeah.
You know what you should do? Get on Shark Tank and then just go, actually, nah, sorry, guys, we don't need any of those dollars. Nah, we're right. We can fund it ourselves, but thanks.
Yeah, there's this
That's why we're out.
Just use the time for the pitch, and then they say, okay, what do you want? And just be like, oh, we just wanted the airtime.
Yeah, we're going to just gift these Aavegotchis here one to each of you. Yeah, we just asked you pet them. That's all we want. Has anybody seen the Joe Rogan with because he's in the news? I was looking up his Spotify, and I saw he had an interview with Beeple, and it's a little dated, but it was interesting because has anybody seen that? First of all, anybody seen the Beeple interview? Okay, well he ends up leading by talking about DAOs, which clearly pisses Joe off because it's like he's off script right away. And he's like talking about DAOs and trying to explain why Joe Rogan needs to launch a DAO. It's hilarious in that sense. And where was I going with this? Oh, just the way he explains an NFT in there is, a little hit and miss. And I was like, man, we could do it better. So there's another video meme. We would just replace Beeple or have Aavegotchi sit next to Beeple and like do a better job. So.
Or just having Aavegotchi sitting across from Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's like a meme.
I like that. That's a good idea.
Terrence, get Terrence.
There you go.
McKenna-Gotchi.
Yeah, Terrence McKenna-Gotchi's got to be the one.
I wonder what his voice would sound like, Terrence McKenna.
Well, if it was the real Terrence, he's got a pretty distinct
The
voice.
machine elves, they're everywhere.
pushing like glasses up on his face.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like that. Cool. Oh, Beeple gifts Joe. I'm looking in the weekly hangout chat here. Yeah, it was interesting. Beeple learned a lot about Beeple, but I think we could explain NFTs better than Beeple. So we got that going for us. No futuristic. You know NFTs from all angles. What's going on in the PFPs are having a hot market this week, right? Seems like everything's bouncing.
There's been like certain projects have done very well, and then other like bigger projects have kind of like gone a little sideways. Like two of the founders from the Bored Ape Yacht Club were doxxed yesterday by like BuzzFeed. Yeah. And was like pissed off about that. Yeah. And then the Cool Cats kind of messed up their launch of Cool Pets, so a lot of people were like flooding the project on that. So those were like big things.
Wow, them getting doxxed. I'm gonna look on Twitter. I just read something very interesting criticizing the board. Well, I was reviewing Bored Ape's smart contracts. Pretty cool channel to follow on Twitter. What are they called? Something about Burner or the
Burning NFT or something, I think it was.
Yeah, and like I guess the channel is after they review some contracts, they just publish on Twitter, the code behind the NFTs. I think they'd really enjoy the diamond contracts we're building on. It'd be busy for a while. It'd be a long tweet thread. I'm looking for it now.
All this talk on NFTs, I thought they were just flipping JPEGs. Isn't that how we make money? NFTs actually have functionality? What?
Utility?
I've had to explain that like 50,000 times in the last week. Just the basic concept of like, it's a token. The image is there, but the token is what it's like. If it's the copyright, if you want, that's the documentation. It's on chain. What does on chain mean? All right, look, here's a book. Read it. Come back. We can talk about this.
Here's a 3-minute video I prepared earlier.
Yes.
You got to introduce them to like DeFi in general first.
Yeah, I try to explain it as crypto banks, like trustless crypto banks. There's no middleman. It's smart contracts, automatic market makers. I mean, most of these people don't understand finance in general, so that's a big impediment because they want to get into it. But it's like this isn't just pictures; it's also finance. You got to understand like some of those dynamics, because if not, then it's just like it's already speculative. But if you don't understand it, it's even worse. Like.
For sure. That's one of the biggest hurdles, trying to get like the OpenSea crowd over to like Polygon in general, is because, or I should say the ETH OpenSea crowd, is that, for some reason there's this unwritten rule where like something's only valuable if you have to spend a shitload of ETH on it. So like they're not realizing the opportunities they're missing yet, and they're just like aping into projects that, you know, if the number's bigger, must be more rare.
Yeah, I'm some groups. I'm in a couple groups. They're always every day. It's like they're so degen. There's this new project that'll come out, and they're like basically competing to see who gets rugged first, but who can make the most money before they get rugged with NFTs. It's so degen, but that's what everyone loves right now.
Imagine knowing that there was a Gotchiverse or universe or metaverse that was going to be launched in a few weeks, months, and being able to buy at the prices now. There's an idea.
That's a good tweet, sir.
Yeah, that's why I've been trading like a madman to get all the wearables I want. I now need a mythical item, or either a mythical item, or I'm aiming towards a legendary martini, because it'll fit my Gotchi really well. This Gotchi's going to be high BRS and probably really slow and drunk in the Gotchiverse, but he'll be able to carry a lot.
Nice. We'll just organise a military crew around, so you'll be protected.
He's probably just going to stay in the house drinking all day, just watching the harvesters go.
Yeah.
Have you got a on the road property so you can just watch everyone walk past?
I have. I think my main property is on the. I don't know if it's a road, but it's in Pixelcraft Square, so I figure I'll be able to watch people there.
Yeah, people watching will be fun. Gotchi watching will be hobby.
Have you guys got any alpha that you can sneak out about some interesting things about being on the road? Any thoughts?
Well, you've were you at the stress test? If you were, you've probably seen. I mean, the road is significantly faster than walking. So definitely being on a road will definitely give you better access. Near a road will give you quicker access to moving around for sure.
Yeah, and I'm thinking not necessarily putting ad billboards up, but how can we interact, or how can we what can we do to if we've got a property on on the road, what advantages, because I'm sure that those properties are going to spike at some stage.
Yeah, like if you're in a high traffic area and you have like a Gotchi you're trying to sell or an NFT you're trying to sell, you'll want to have a couple NFT displays set up like near the road, so people will be flying down the road, they'll catch a glimpse of what you're trying to hawk, and they might stop. It's just like kind of a billboard on a highway.
Nice. And then I suppose we could rent them out, couldn't we? There's some monetization.
Yeah, definitely. That would be pretty cool too. Rent out your NFT display.
Do you have any plans for like stat tracking in the realm? Like, I know we'll probably have like liquidator kills, stuff like that, but like, Alchemica picked up but travel, stuff like that, distance travel by the Gotchi, or anything that's based on experience or activity in the Gotchiverse?
Definitely we'll definitely have the ability to show like how much Alchemica you've picked up. Distance traveled probably would be possible. We'd think the way we calculate movement, it's not like per block. It's kind of when you start and stop. So we'd have to calculate the time. Basically, the time you've moved would be one way, but I'd have to ask the team to see if they would know a way to calculate that. That would be pretty interesting, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Grand Theft Auto, where you can go through all those stats, and it's like, oh, I've killed that many liquidators, I've busted down that many walls.
Yeah, liquidators. They're definitely gonna drop something when you kill them. I want them to drop a tongue, so you could collect tongues, kind of like in Diablo. When you kill someone, you get their ear. I think if you kill a liquidator, you should get a tongue. And just have a running total of how many tongues you have.
Yeah, I'm on board too. I kind of like the brain dome on the top. I kind of want their brains.
They stick their tongue out. Chop! Just cut it right off. But yeah, the brain tomb.
Silence of the liquidators.
Yeah,
Oh,
just trying
boy,
to say
Blau.
NFT land.
Blau performing in Vegas, March 4th and 5th, NFT Moonfest. Gonna FOMO. Area 51 backwards, Area 15. That's hilarious. Yeah, that Choini, I see Choini shared news about NFT land in Vegas. The event is now canceled. That's total bummer. So
Isn't it on the same
Big
day
plan.
as GDC? That was one
Yeah.
of the reasons, right?
yeah, so they put it on the exact same week, same days as the major gaming conference in San Francisco. So
Not
you
gonna
know,
make it.
we were reaching out to some guilds being like, hey, we'll see you at NFT land. And they're like, yeah, we'll be at GDC. It's like, oh, that makes sense. So, bit of a bummer there. We will
We're,
find
we're
a-
thinking, we're thinking of having a presence at GDC, right? We were kind of talking about that, I think, last
Yeah.
week. Maybe showing up.
Yeah, if anyone wants to go to GDC, I think we should try to go. I looked at their, like, how else to say it? They're very strict on, like, you have to have the boosts and be totally up to date or you're not getting in. So,
Yeah, makes sense.
it's much stricter than, for example, ETH Denver. So also have good news on that front. Remember, we were part of the DeFi Alliance cohort recently.
Mhm.
So DeFi Alliance is organizing a panel at ETH Denver, and they reached out and wanted us to be a part of that. So just got confirmation this morning via email that we're going to be, I'll be on a panel at ETH Denver representing Aavegotchi and all. So it's a gaming NFT focused panel, and actually I'll get to go for all 4 days, so it's a full pass.
nice.
Yeah, 4 or 5 days, whatever it is. So at least we'll be there, and their COVID policy is very different. It's just whatever you have or don't have, whatever, it all it's all contagious. So you just have to take a test when you arrive, and as long as you pass your test, then you're in. So
Yeah.
I'll be laying low the week beforehand and just try to make sure I get in. That's coming up really quick. I think 10 days from now.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, congrats, man. So hold on. So Berkeley, Denver, mate, you're all over the place.
Yeah, the U.S. is getting all these in real life opportunities. They're sprouting up now. So we'll try to get Aavegotchi everywhere we can. Yeah, I've almost gone to ETH Denver. Like every year, it's like, oh, maybe this is the year. It never happens. So knock on wood. This year actually seems like we'll have a presence there.
Yeah,
would be
nice.
good.
And they gave you the full pass as well, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. And ETH Denver is very different. You can't like just buy a ticket to attend. It's very dev centric. So I'm sure we'll get to talk with a lot of the the devs in the space that mostly from Ethereum, but not all. Polygon's a big sponsor. The panel I'm on is also DeFi Alliance plus Aave. So might have helped us get in there. So yeah, we'll be able to spread the Gotchi gospel to a lot of the dev side community. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's nice, man. Real cool.
Yeah, GDC. Maybe No Futuristic can go to GDC. I don't know. It would be cool to have somebody attend there, for sure.
I'm vaccinated, but I haven't been boosted. I also, silly idiot me, when I went to New York, I laminated my card. So I would have to get a new card because they can't write the boost.
Well, you could, but then they could wipe it right off with a dry erase marker.
Yeah. I can always just go back to Walgreens and just tell them give me a boost. But I think I got my vaccination happened in like end of September. So I think I have to wait 6 months before I can get the boost.
In Australia, we only have to wait 3 months, and that's in a few days for me. So I'm just about to get zapped again. And by the way, I've just noticed Heffy's got his hand up in the audience.
Oh, shoot. I will say that I'm pretty certain that during Christmas I got COVID, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah. Well,
Even for ETH Denver, I mean, the it's coming up quick, but all these events have a media pass. So, people like No Futuristic, anyone out there running their own Gotchi channels, that's probably something that, like, as I see events or anybody sees events, we can feed it to ambassadors especially, and maybe there's an opportunity to, get a media pass, and you'll be in the back room and get to interview all the, whatever, you get to have a presence there. So if that sounds interesting, maybe there's still time. You could hit me up later, Futuristic. We could see if that's even a possibility.
Yeah, I'll send you a message.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've never been to Colorado, or the other one was, you said, in San Diego, right?
San Francisco.
Even better.
Yep. Going north.
I go where the hippies are. It'll be fine.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, awesome. Hey, I'm Zerk, and I'm the guy that built this tool for Raffle calculator. And I want to say that I never felt such strong urge to build something for any community or any groups of people I've been involved with. So it's been very nice to, being involved with you guys in this way of this project and so. And I also wanted to ask actually a question about the Bible. It's been a blast to read, and I was intrigued by two things. One was the handling, and then in the stress test we saw that we were capped by a certain number of Alchemica, but it was not related to any sort of weight, right? And when you talk about inertia, it suggests me some weight also being involved with the process. And I was just sorry, I was just wondering, like, if the Alchemica will actually have some in-game weights, and probably or potentially different than the other. Like Flood is abundant, but it's also heavier, that you, I don't know, fill your bag quickly or so. Like, will there be this kind of um, mechanic involved with this handling or inertia, acceleration, deceleration kind of process?
Yeah, great question. And yeah, it kind of does feel like handling should be related to weight in some way. I mean, currently we are only linking it to energy versus energy for carrying capacity versus movement speed. That's kind of the encumbrance. But open to the idea. It could just add more complexity to already a pretty complicated system, but
Yeah.
it could be interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, I
It could
felt
be.
like, yeah, a tank maybe favoring this kind of, better handling might be desirable, because maybe it's just packed, but it's not really encumbered, right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
that could be kind of fun. And the other thing was, what intrigued me was this nonlinear increasing of, I think it was health points, not necessarily the trade itself, when it's like godlike over 100 or so. And is it really like gonna be like off chain, and then it's only affecting the health points when it is just like, I don't know, over 100, and it's gonna scale non-linearly?
Yeah, we put that non-linearly. It won't be like a linear base, because I think the non-linear I'm thinking of is it's gonna taper off as you get into a higher level. Like it's not gonna go. It's not exponential. It's
Yeah.
it would be the opposite of exponential. I forget what that is like.
Yeah.
So like a level, yeah, a level. The more extreme you get, the more your base health will kind of go up, because otherwise there's not a lot of like we have kind of built this game on the idea of rewarding high rarity score, and it was just it did seem like BRS wasn't really getting a lot of benefits beyond just having more extreme traits, and so we added in more health for higher BRS.
Yeah, because I also thought, like, in that respect, as I said, BRS is like an integer number, right? But maybe, I don't know, like the tiebreaker I think has been in the season 2 was like kinship or experience, which can be, I don't know, you can basically go above someone if you just drink this potion, perhaps, and have just this higher kinship, which is also like automated, which I'm not really against. But I was wondering if this kind of fractional or like floating number of BRS can be a thing in the next rarity farming if there's like a trade that has, I don't know, let's say a very based gotchi has an aberration of 105 and it scales with, I don't know, 1.05 or so every BRS after a certain level. And then therefore we would have like fractional BRS numbers, and then this is how you would just like rank up with these extreme trades.
Well, the BRS is still on chain. We're not changing the on chain part of it. Basically, all these traits, they're an off chain interpretation of the BRS. Like we've seen this in other mini games too, where they kind of interpret the different traits in a way that fits the game. And so all the traits that we're going over here are kind of off chain interpretations of the BRS. So the BRS won't change. It's still, we're not going to have like fractional BRS because it's in Solidity. You actually can't. You can only have integers. You can have really big integers, but so you can't have like 2.5.
I see. Okay. And the foreseen. Sorry. Yeah. Go.
Integers for the win.
The foreseen change with this increasing of extremal traits, would it only just affect the health points, or would it actually affect the trait itself? Let's say it's attack or attack speed or so.
Yeah, that's part of the balance process that we are currently working on, and most likely, I would say it's going to be more of a linear progression. For like one extra point will give you a little bit more than the previous, or it'll be the same percentage increase of the previous point. So it's not, it won't be exponential. But like when you go above 99, if you go to 100 or 101, 102, you'll still be increasing your trait and making it more extreme.
Okay, but the scaling will be still, let's say, like +1, but not like 1.05 or so. Not exponential, but like also not exactly non-linear.
Yeah, and again, this is part of the balancing that we're working on. There's still quite a lot of work to do on the weapons balancing and the traits balancing, and we're not quite to a point yet where we can release that or even begin testing it, because there's still a lot of internal plumbing in the Gotchiverse that we're working out. But as we saw with the stress test, a lot of that is really, really working. So soon we will be able to start implementing some traits. And I hope to have a couple live by, well, it won't be the next stress test, but pretty soon to be able, won't be a trait, but it'll be kind of like what a trait will feel like. So we'll start to get a feel for handling and maybe vision range, carrying capacity, things like that.
I mean, the project is so ambitious. I can only, scratch my head around when I look at it just by like being involved with it. Development must be just whole another level of challenge. Just want to share an anecdote also in that respect that I'm shilling Gotchi pretty hard to my girlfriend, as all other fellow Gotchiers are doing, presumably. And she happened to mention this to a guy who's like not CEO, but like one level below the CEO of a big insurance company here, and he actually sent a mail telling her that he actually was like pretty impressed, and then he actually just got involved and invested in Aavegotchi also. I don't know if it was just token or
Nice.
did he actually buy any assets, but like it seems polished, even to like this guy has nothing to do with any NFT or I don't know the other kind of like, let's say, crypto project, except maybe just buying Ethereum or Bitcoin. But it seems people are look at it and then they see some polished level, and I think that's very promising because there have been recent discussions about onboarding people, and I think the level of polishness just always helps. So,
yeah, we have a lot of work to do as far as making like the onboarding process even simpler. There's just been so much focus on shipping the feature set that we want to get to create the economy. But once a lot of that is going, we really need to work on the onboarding and like fiat onboarding and helping people understand how to play. I think the Gotchiverse and also Gotchi lending, they're just going to be very, very helpful for that. Like literally, I was on Zed Run today, just playing on their website a little bit, and I think they have like a similar issue to us because you come in and you're like, well, what do I do with this horse? I don't have a horse. I don't really want to spend $80 to buy a horse. I just want to play the game. And so I think Gotchi lending is going to be huge there. So if we can have like a market where people can come on and they can rent a Gotchi for 20 minutes and just play around a little bit, they might not even earn anything, but at least they'll be able to come in the world and like get a taste of what it is. That'll be so powerful. Like one of the only games out there that will really be super easy for people to just jump in and start playing.
Yeah, and I mean, in order to build some momentum or hype before the Gotchiverse launch, is it like at least foreseen or planned to have this landing mechanism and then maybe some game or so to land to be active, or is it like more pictured in a way that first the Gotchiverse above anything else, and then maybe the landing and then other aspects to give it a try?
Yeah, the lending is, as far as the smart contracts, they're pretty much close. We haven't gotten an audit. We would love to have an audit on that part. But we just had an audit on our realm contracts, and it was super hard to get that. So if we can, we'll try to get an audit for the lending as well. But the smart contracts are pretty close. They're not too complex, so they're pretty close to being. We could ship those fairly soon, and then it's just integrating everything into a nice UI. So we are working on like a big improvement to the Aavegotchi UI, just making things more discoverable. Like right now, a lot of people probably don't even know that there's a bar on the side of like a sidebar that you can click on. I think a lot of people probably just don't even know about that. So
I think I discovered it yesterday. Yeah.
You discovered it yesterday?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Holy
I just
shit.
see. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Like our hardcore users still aren't even aware of that. There's like a bar on the side. So there is a lot of improvements there that once those are kind of implemented, then it'll be super easy to have a section for like lend Gotchi, like a little lending section and a bazaar section and a staking section. All that will be kind of very clear on the site. So really excited. That's what I've been putting a lot of effort into. Besides the Bible is it's like a new UI, envisioning of what the site can look like to make it even easier for people to come in. So hopefully we'll be shipping that. Hopefully we'll get that this month. That's the goal, is to get new landing page and a new like Aavegotchi not a full V2, but like a definitely some big improvements on the UI. I don't know, you guys might have seen a couple of improvements recently if you're on the site quite frequently, but there are many more to come.
Yeah, it's very subtle. Like I think the other day I saw you can sort your gotchis by BRS or other properties, which must be a helper for a whale, which I'm not, but like it's still a nice addition.
Yeah, well, yeah, cool. And thanks so much for the calculator. That was I'm sure that was super useful for people.
Yeah, it was a pleasure because like the goes GG, it shows you the average, but we saw people getting wrecked with like 1,000 mythical because like with a probability of between 0 and 2%, you could have gotten nothing. And then we had someone with almost exact same number of tickets who had like 9 mythicals. Tommy Gotcha, I think his username was. So it's yeah, this helps. I mean, seeing the bell curve just helps with getting not completely wrecked, but sometimes it's just statistics can be a bitch. So yeah.
So you made the one where you actually go into the probabilities, right?
Yep. I mean, it basically shows you. I mean, it was really bare bone. Like I wanted to put it out even before like the raffle was active, before people aping in their tickets. But time-wise, I was just able to barely do it just before it ends, and hope it saved some people getting wrecked.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my case, it was I played a bit safe and I got some comments and that was it. But yeah, I hope it helps some people. So yeah.
Definitely, you can, maybe take it further. I know you could do like a PR on ghost.gg, maybe have some
Yeah,
way
we've
to
been in
incorporate
yeah,
that.
we've been in discussion with Yannick about it, and I'm happy that if they can just, use the core code. I mean, I've written in Python, and then they're actually using
Uh,
JavaScript, and so they might need to do some migration, but I can contribute, although I'm not really fluent in JavaScript. I'm thinking that, if we can some sort of upgrade, which is already like a great looking site, Ghost GG, then it should be quite nice for everyone. And then the data would be pulled also directly from Gotchi, that you don't have to put in by
Yep.
hand how many total
Yeah,
flows
yeah.
are. Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Oh, I'm just humbled that you were inspired to to work on this. It's really we're more and more thinking Aavegotchi is not just a game. It's really a protocol, and I think we're gonna see a lot in this year. We're really gonna see Aavegotchi become more than just like an NFT collectible or the Gotchiverse becoming a game. Like it's a protocol that people can build on and earn a living off of, and just like build and build and build, make it just like you would with a DeFi protocol. It's really like it's its own kind of money Lego or NFT Lego. So yeah, I think it's really cool that you can build stuff like that on top of it and help people.
Yeah, I never had the idea originally to like, come up with it, but I guess I'm kind of was also inspired by how much this game is community driven and focused on the community, that, it's really we're like part of this ecosystem that we all can do, I don't know, make our tiny contributions to it. And I guess it was only made possible by having this mindset. And then when you lay this kind of, as you said, like this Lego playground, then people will just come and start building stuff that should just like help with pretty much everything, like useful tools or just making the essence of the game better. And it's an incredible experiment to witness, I have to say. Like, I'm so happy about like discovering this project and watching how it grows, because there's the magnitude of challenges in the technical aspect of things that I'm not that much familiar with, but even the social part, the like this kind of DAO part, and then
Hmm.
just the whole DeFi part. It's like it's so fresh. It's like discovering an incredible band that you immediately resonate with, because you realize these sounds are so different, and melodies and stuff. So it's really like getting you. It's rabbit hole. It's like the
Yeah.
definition for me. It's incredible. Yeah, and I'm very curious about how it's gonna turn out in the end. Also, like, I don't know if you guys seen it, but I really don't remember the name. But in Netflix, there's this documentary about just, I guess, in the history of gaming and how it emerged with how it emerged with arcades and stuff. And they're actually interviewing people who, I don't know, hacked, for example, the Space Invaders when it
Huh.
was put out by Atari. I mean, these MIT engineering students, they just came up with a piece of hardware, and then they were hacking into the machine because like some level was too easy, and so they were just adding these challenges, and they've made it so well that they were in the end sued by Atari because they sold like, I don't know, I guess 300 grand of piece of hardware to hack these machines in arcades and stuff. So um, to witness like these challenges of like, or the evolving of the gaming from this arcades into where we're at today, they really had this incredible, inspiring, just people imagining something and then turning into an actual product and stuff. Um, Now when we're in this new space of crypto where everything is much more community driven and stuff, let alone the blockchain side or technical challenges, it's very curious. I am very curious about the whole thing. So it's
I
really like
think
being part of an experiment. Yeah.
I was gonna say I think it's an interesting point that you make around the 8-bit games that people used to design, and it's almost like we've come full circle. We went from
Mhm.
I remember arcade gaming was a really big thing when I was young.
Yeah. It really feels
Yep.
like reinvention.
Yeah. We've really
It seems like
I second that. Hmm.
Yeah, sorry, I accidentally muted myself. But I was gonna say, it seems like we've come full circle back to kind of where we were, and it's like the gaming industry's almost been in like I don't know, some other kind of state for like the last 10 years or 20 years, where everything's centralized, got more and more centralized, and you own less and less, right? So I think it's a good turning point to start looking at games where your time is actually worth something. Like I think I was listening to this podcast, and he's like, there's an opportunity cost with gaming, and that's you're not really earning anything for your time. You're doing it for pure enjoyment. But what if you could do it for enjoyment and earn something for your time? Like I think that's the future of work right there, or could be possibly for some people.
I think 100% there are going to be a lot of gamers that don't do anything else except game, and then maybe start investing small amounts from their earnings, and then they might in the end become investors that just game most of the time. I think that's highly likely that'll happen. This pay to play, earn to play, this whole model is, I think it's going to boom. So it's exciting to be in some of the early stages or early parts of it, because I'm super pumped where this is going to end up.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I was always puzzled by seeing people, I mean, let's say people just, I don't know, buying AAA games every year and playing them on their console or PC. They had this hatred against the whole idea of NFT gaming and so, but I at first was puzzled, but then I discovered that people are in this mindset because they're saying like there have been this, microtransactions and other kind of lazy cash grab methods, and they just think that NFTs are just a gimmick, and then this is just another way of doing so. But once I think, which I think will happen in 2022, because as you said, people will start playing actually and see the benefit of the true ownership, and then they can actually make money, and the time they spend is worth it essentially. They're gonna have a wake up and realize it's not about another cash grab method, but it's actually about clearly distributing the power of ownership of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And then, talking to some guilds, what the guilds are doing right now is an amazing thing. And it's no easy task to run a guild, but for those who are doing it, you're essentially, you're creating mentors. Like there's only maybe 3 to 4 thousand of us, if that, right now. The game is very, uh, it's small right now. Like there are a lot of Aavegotchis, but there's maybe like 4,000 people that are really interested in the game. But then we're in these guilds, and we're all, going. It's like an inch wide, but going a mile deep in terms of how much you need to know, or how much you can know with Aavegotchi. And so everybody in it right now, that's even if you just joined and are now learning, essentially all these people are going to become mentors for, the next wave of people who are going to be coming in, who may not be, like us, that go into the wiki and read everything right away. They might just want to pick up an Aavegotchi and play a game for a couple hours and earn some Alchemica, right? So they might be a little bit different. Like, I mean, obviously there'll always be people coming that really want to go the mile deep, but the fact that we have so many people right now that know the game so well, that can go deep into the wiki and kind of explain everything. I think those people are going to be like mentors and guides for other people coming in now, and I think that's really critical for game to scale and grow, is to have people available to explain everything, especially when there are so many intricate pieces to it.
Yeah, 100% agree, man. Having so many advocates, having thousands of advocates that Aavegotchi has. And I think what you were saying that before reminded me of marketing funnels, where you've got, 1,000 leads coming in the top, or 10,000, and then 1,000 people will maybe just become liquidators. 9,000 didn't even worry. They heard about it and went, nah. And then 1,000 people become liquidators, and then out of them, maybe half of them go, oh, I might actually rent out an Aavegotchi for an afternoon. Oh, cool, that worked well. I did better. And then some people buy, and then some people buy land, and then et cetera, and then they become an advocate, and then and then tell all their 50, 100, 500 people they know, and then then you get that explosive viral growth, and I think that's I think we're on the cusp of that.
I agree. Yeah, 100%.
I think it becomes one of the strongest tools that we'll have at our disposal once, say, the Bible's done and once we launch the Gotchiverse, is that we'll be able to give new entrants a visualization of the circle of wind in a very easy to understand way. Because we can talk about it, but like when I show people stress test video of the Gotchiverse, they get it immediately when they see me running around picking up Alchemica and like, hey, that's a cryptocurrency. I can stake it. I can do
Yeah.
installations, and it's like they get it. Like there's no need for all the extra. So it's like it's once we have everything in place, demonstrating that circle of win will be our biggest asset, I think.
This is I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was like I forget what wasn't a podcast, it was like a more of a book, but just to play the devil's advocate here, there's a like a strategy that sorry, I was listening in Chinese, so I'll have to translate it, but I think it's a cool concept. The idea is basically you try to brainstorm, what would make you fail, what would be the if we had a meeting like 2 years or 3 years from now, and we were like, oh, like shit, it didn't work out, like what do you guys think would be some of the reasons that we, beyond the all the core team just like we're like rugging, because it's not going to happen, but what would be some like real reasons you guys think that this just wouldn't work out? I think it's an interesting way to think about what are some of the weak points that we should be addressing.
Have you ever read Edward de Bono's Six Thinking Hats? Because that's very black hat Edward de Bono.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very nice way to approach, as I said, because you're confident about, I guess, doing your best and so. I mean, not just you, of course, but just a whole team and so. But what could be the potential issues? I guess one thing I can think of is like as Hefe was mentioning, that I also got hooked by reading the light paper and then the wiki, and I like this stuff, but not majority don't. Like, let's just say people just wanna come home and then just play and enjoy their short time, whatever they have coming from work and so. So if it's not easy to grab or get into,
Mhm.
and then they don't realize the value of this thing, unfortunately, all this other, say, more philosophical or experimental parts, which people don't necessarily are interested in, which is all right also. Um, in the end, it may not count, and I guess this is also about a bit about like riding the momentum. Like I mean, not just we, but in crypto, it's this hype and this degen behavior is very prominent because it's some sort of Wild West. And if you can't really ride a momentum or hype, it could be still a very polished, nice product, but it may never reach maybe the growth size that it would be targeting if there is no this riding the momentum or building the hype for it, and people just can't get on even because it's too hard to be established in. Of course, the easiest way I can think of is mobile, because right now I think the mobile gaming has the biggest cat size of just gaming in general, because you just have your phone and then you can get on board with any enjoying, pleasurable gaming activity, which is long term. I remember reading it's the plan, of course. But yeah, that's what I can see. It could be just a niche, but a nice product in the end, I guess. Yeah.
I would say.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say my biggest worry, honestly, I'm not worried about the game at all. I think this thing's it's gonna blow up. My biggest worry is it does blow up, it gets really big, and then we're not decentralized enough, and then we get some attention from the regulators, and that might ruin some of the game mechanics. That's my worry, is that we need to, like, there's 4,000 of us right now, but once we get the free to play gates open, once we get the rental gates open, to start really making sure that the protocol starts to become more and more decentralized and more out of the hands of you guys and Pixelcraft, as someone who's part of Aavegotchi but not Aavegotchi itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. That's for the protocol for sure. We're already actively looking into, which governance should we be setting up. There's a couple different models out there. But yeah, this year is definitely the year that we want to get. I mean, for the community's sake and also for our own sake, just because we're not going to be targeted by anyone. It's definitely safer to have as much as possible out of our direct control. We're just gonna help run the Gotchiverse as far as like keeping the infra up, but all the decisions, all that is made by the community. And if we can get it to that point, then we'll really mitigate that.
I'd say my biggest I guess FUD point would be Polygon. Like we have another, because the Polygon is underutilized at this point. I believe we're going to get a lot more traffic, and with seeing like the inference, like basically how we kind of froze up when Sunflower Farm happened. That the likelihood that other competitors that come in and with poorly designed open source games where people can make money, that could be an issue in the short term. Like a network, Polygon becoming too congested and petting, or just lots of transactions. Basically it becoming Ethereum Mainnet essentially, which I think is going to happen, and why I buy so much MATIC, because we're going to get more transactions eventually.
Yeah.
So, but that can be mitigated if you go to another chain, or I guess create your own Aavegotchi chain, but that's a whole different thing. In terms of the regulatory thing, I don't really worry about it as much, because I think of Axie Infinity and how that reached mainstream adoption, and they're not even thinking about it right now, I think. Like regulators.
Yeah,
it's
good point.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't think the regulators are at a point where they're, I think their hands are kind of full with a lot of stuff right now. But I think that's good for us in a sense, because that gives us time to decentralize the protocol before it even is really a problem, which I think would be good.
I also think potentially, I don't know enough about this subject, and maybe I'm just thinking too futuristic, as the name implies, but issues with bots in the game. I know you guys are taking a lot of like anti-bot steps, but I feel like and it's a beauty of this space and of computer science in general. People are going to figure out ways to get around whatever walls you put up, and that's what the great challenge of like the evolution of computer science. That would probably also be some kind of like existential threat to the game.
I mean, in that respect, it's a good point. Like, if it is detected that a wallet or a Gotchi owned by a wallet is botting because, I don't know, it's making suspiciously repetitive moves in the Gotchiverse, and so what could be the measures that could be taken against that? Like, can you actually ban someone, so to say?
That would need to be a kind of a community decision. I mean, we could and probably will be using like neural networks to try and figure out if users are moving in a human-like pattern. And so if a bot is, if it knows, if it's going like a beeline towards Alchemica without any hesitation whatsoever, we'll probably know that. And so, and this won't be immediately, but it won't be that hard to set that kind of stuff up, because it's really not a super complex game. I expect there will be people trying to use screen readers and stuff pretty quickly. So one, we could disconnect them and just kick them out, give them a 30-minute period where they can't play with that Gotchi. Like that would be one way. The Gotchi would just be like in Gotchi jail for 30 minutes. Because we can't ban the Gotchi itself. We're not, because that Gotchi could be traded, but we could just say, this Gotchi can't be played for this amount of time. That would just be one way. There's probably other even better ways that we could think of.
And if you had it banned for 1 minute first, then 5, then 15, then an hour, then a day, then a week, scale it up.
I mean, hit him with the trifecta, like IP, wallet address, like Gotchi, for like maybe if the gotchi is being used for nefarious activity, you can freeze the gotchi for a little bit of time. I mean, like you'd be able to monitor where it moves, right? And if it moves, I guess you like clear the. I mean, there'd be ways to manipulate it, right? But you could be as annoying as possible.
Yeah.
What about having a gotchi jail? Like it's like a big spacious parcel and has like it's like bars, like a jail. And you have all the gotchis that are like on timeout or whatever in there, and then it has like the owner's name above it. So we're like, all right, there's that guy. It's like the wall of shame, you know?
You can
I'm
throw
happy
stuff
to
at
have
it.
I'm happy to advertise that on my District 1 Spacious on the road. Whoever's in jail, I'll put up a big thing. Yeah, I'm happy to donate some of my space for that for sure.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. So far we got. I saw someone said parasitic guilds trying to maximize profits instead of building healthy economy. Crypto regulation being too intense for normies. Never shipping a mobile app. Lack of decentralization and getting regulated. Polygon not scaling. Bots ruining the game. And then just maybe not better games, but there's just so many games out there that just people don't discover Aavegotchi in time.
Yeah, I'm nervous about the process of introducing actual like dApps and technicalities and like having. I mean, because the oversight involved in an operation like that to make sure that you have quality of controls, like I don't even know how you'd implement something like that.
Yeah, because like you would ideally like if we're putting dApps on our parcels, but most likely they're developed by us, like they're not going to be audited. So there might be exploits that maybe it's not Aavegotchi, but like say I put up a bad dApp and then people lose money. That could be an issue too.
I mean, we should be able to get like like it wouldn't be surprising if people were intimidated just because of the difficulty of it, and then you have obviously nefarious actors, and then you have like truthful actors. So you have to really worry about the nefarious ones the most. But yeah, just making it so that they don't have tools to really disrupt us is probably my biggest fear.
I guess one of my worries would be the economy not taking off in the way that it needs to, and then the tokens just getting farmed to zero. That's kind of the one thing we're really looking out and we'll try to avoid that. But there are we can see a lot of tokens have been farmed. Basically, there's that farm token pattern, and so we really want to have lots and lots of utility for the tokens so that people want to hold them and want to spend them, and want to burn them. Because otherwise, they'll just get farmed and sold, which
Yeah,
we all know how that ends.
high velocity everywhere is probably the best, right? Because then you have the value in just the yield. Like it's attractive for an investor to come in and just buy the token and yield it, right? Because you have that high cash flow. So whatever you can do to make sure that everything's like flowing, even if we have like the same amount of players, like stable growth of players, like whatever, it's just got to be in a system that's like elastic so that it can have attractive it's got to have attractive rates.
I mean,
There,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think a really good case study for kind of how things like farming can ruin or help an economy is this guy on YouTube. He did I think it was like an hour-long documentary on like the RuneScape economy over like the 20 years of the game. I mean, it's still going today, but this game had many like booms and busts over 20 years. And this guy kind of just talks about the history of RuneScape, but I think it's like a good case study to see how the gold farming in the game affected the items and the weapons in the game, and when they introduced new items, what happened. And I think it'd just be good to, I'm sure you guys have looked at a lot of stuff, but I found that personally for me was quite helpful to look at that and see how the economy did over the 20 years of the game's popularity. And, World of Warcraft probably has similar things too.
Yeah, it's not that different from a real world economy. You're gonna have certain levers that you can increase and decrease that will change minimize or increase inflation or prevent stagflation. And also, what we're trying to do is we're trying to attract new players as well to come. There needs to be some, besides the game just being fun, which is definitely part of it, but an economic incentive for them to want to play as well is definitely needed in play to earn games.
I mean, what I want to say was making the game fun. I mean, as the target is, definitely helps, because I remember seeing this guy playing Clash of Clans in parallel from like 4 iPads. Even when in shower, he had this kind of special slot for the iPad. Completely addicted, and the only reason why he kept pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars was essentially that he enjoyed the satisfaction of seeing him in a higher rank, and that was it, right?
Yeah.
So even though there's no return of investment, whatever, he was just like still super heavily invested and never really left the system, so to say. And but I guess there can be other countermeasures against it, like having some sort of Alchemica sync for certain mechanics or some assets, which could help. But in the end, if the game is just again, playing devil's advocate, if it's just a mindless farming game that you walk around, just grab these tokens for 8 hours without much fun, and then you deposit them for, I don't know, $10 or so, then it's not very fun, and people will just cash out, I guess. So
yeah, that's why we really have we want to emphasize more the social aspect as well. Like you're able to, that's the metaverse is all about. It's not just playing to earn. It's really just making it kind of your social space, enjoying being in there, hanging out with friends.
Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely a very very supportive aspect of this whole concept, hanging out and displaying your collection of art, your own DApp. All these aspects are very exciting.
Being supportive of each other, fostering community.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, because everyone makes mistakes. I mean, nothing's. Dude, I can only imagine what it's like to implement something like Sunflower Farm or like a failed implementation, and just seeing people have to go through something like that, and try and do something small and gentle, and maybe they have a pretty good idea, but they make one critical mistake and just get abused. It's sad to see.
I think their mistake was just making everything 100% immutable from the beginning. With none of their devs were really that they didn't seem like senior blockchain engineers.
No, none of them were blockchain engineers. I mean, I listened to a couple of AMAs with them. They're like Web 2 devs, and they're all friends, and they just wanted to make a farming game that they could do themselves, and they wanted it to be as decentralized as possible. And so they were the only way to do that is to make it, immutable and the way it was, yeah. And it has to, and they can't have any they didn't want any stakers coming in, so all of the reward was given to the people at the bottom, and that's fine. But when you have people showing up with just a wallet, you saw what happened. That's bad.
Yeah.
That definitely goes back to that economics aspect you were saying, Dan. How it's a careful balance of creating tokens, but also providing a use for those tokens. Because at the end of the day, it's a game, and if you mine your Alchemica, there should be a whole bunch of different things you can do with it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, part of it is initially it'll be the building the installation, and also the pimping out your parcel, making your parcel look cool, tiles, NFT, the NFT display, and then when we get out into the grid, there'll be some defensive and offensive things too. But yeah, I mean, we can even go beyond that for sure. There's a lot of different. You'll have the Gotchi Lodge will be another one. That's really the social hub. So again, there's going to be even more, I'm sure, over this is like a baby project. There's a lot of different things we can do with these Alchemica.
Hey, if we're doing say we create a DApp on our parcel that is a transactional DApp, I'm selling a service or some kind of product, will there be like a tax on that goes back to the DAO slash maybe the Great Portal?
For what?
For like, say if I build a DApp and it's a transactional DApp, like you can buy a product or service. Will the DAO or Pixelcraft or I guess even the Great Portal receive any like fee off of that transaction?
Yeah, we're gonna take 35% like the App Store.
Oh crap!
No, I don't know. I mean, that's haven't really thought. We haven't even built the SDK yet, so.
That'd be a good way to also continue to fund the Great Portal and the DAO. Like a 1% tax of some sort. I don't know how. We'll probably have to vote on that, but
It'll be a protector fee. Make sure you got your NPC doesn't get killed by liquidators in the grid.
yeah.
Dan, do you see there being lots of uses for Alchemica outside of the Aavegotchi game itself? Do you see people, being able to exchange, like buy, sell Alchemica tokens, or also be able to spend them in other games, like other mini games, or it could be other full developed games? Is that
Yeah.
something you think might happen eventually, or do you think the
Maybe.
Alchemica
I mean,
is going to
I could
stay
see.
maybe in Aavegotchi?
I think I could, well, again, this comes back to the idea that, Aavegotchi is the gaming kind of protocol, the NFT gaming protocol that this thing we're building, and then people can go and build their game on top of that. So we as Pixelcraft, we are deciding to make the Gotchiverse, and we're launching these tokens with it. Someone else, like we got, Gotchinomics with their Gotchi miner, they could say, hey, we're gonna piggyback off the success of the Gotchiverse, and we're gonna we've accumulated these tokens, and we're gonna launch our game also using the Alchemica. I think that'd be really, really interesting. They could also say we're gonna launch our own tokens, and do a fair launch, by play to earn as well, by playing our game. So the protocol is like the Aavegotchis and Ghost and the NFTs, and then the Alchemica and even Realm, the parcels, those are kind of above the protocol level because those are part of the game itself. Like Realm and Alchemica are kind of a step above the Aavegotchi as a protocol. So I think it would be definitely cool if other games building on Aavegotchi were able to sync up with it, and there are allocations in the tokenomics for that kind of stuff. Like there's the ecosystem, 10% over 30 years. That part of that could go to some of these other games as well.
That's really
So
cool.
I don't know what
Really,
I would
really
love to
cool.
hear what Gotchinomics and the Gotchi miners have in mind for digging. What kind of tokens are you going to be earning when you're digging? Maybe it's Alchemica, maybe it's Ghost, maybe it's something else. But that would be if they do choose Alchemica and Ghost, that would obviously have the most overlap, and it's providing more utility to like they would need to get those tokens and then kind of support those tokens, and people would be earning them.
We have a question from Umami. It's a question for the channel from the altar. What are the values for channel per day? Is it something in the order of the harvesters, or 10 times more, or 10 times less?
So that's going to be coming out in the next chapter, and it depends on which harvester level you're talking about. There's 9 levels of harvester, so the level 1 harvester is pretty weak. I forget the exact amount. I'd have to look at the recipe book, but it's pretty similar. It's going to be pretty similar to having like a level 1 or 2 harvester. But again, I would need to consult. If anyone wants to drop the screenshot here of a FUD harvester, we could give it kind kind of a comparison between the two, but can't say the exact amount. We have kind of an internal number that we're looking at, but we need to do some final calculations as far as the supply to make sure that that number is going to work with our goal. But the interesting thing about alchemical channeling is, again, I view it as one of the most potent levers that we, as the community, as the game, have on controlling the supply of Alchemica and also attracting new users. Because it's 25% of the total Alchemica of the tokenomics, and so if we make it too high, obviously there's going to be a lot of inflation and price of Alchemica will go down. But if it's too low, then people might not even care. They might not even bother to do the channeling. It would just wouldn't be that fun for them. So it's all about finding that sweet spot, and that sweet spot could change over time, which is why alchemical channeling is a good one to be a lever for the DAO to control.
Yeah, Gotchinomics is putting in some screenshots from the game. He said, Coder Dan, unfortunately, I will not be able to join today, but it would be great to incorporate real Alchemica rewards in the Gotchi miner, and then some alpha.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Do you eventually see potential places that will be able to stake Alchemica outside of our ecosystem?
So, Mr. Zeller, when are we gonna have AM FUD?
Yeah.
What examples are you referring to? Like, I mean, you'll be able to LP with it on the GAX, and you'll be able to earn
their tokens, so
glitter
you can
token.
do any like protocol. Some of them have no restrictions as far as what tokens they take, and some of them have restrictions as far as what token they take. But it's an ERC20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it does things with the ERC20s, then they could do it with our tokens.
That's awesome.
It's exciting. Have you guys talked at all about the trait forum post?
I have not yet. No one has really. None of the authors of the posts have come on.
Oh, I thought I was talking on there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Looking Handsome had a super long post. I was reading through it before tonight's hangout to try and
get ready,
soak it all up.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it seems like basically the main concern is that there's like this one build that exists. The
tanky ranger, right? I guess that's all this is.
Yeah, tanky range damage. Nobody wants that build to exist. But also you can get like, you know, you can tank up with like 3 of your things, and then you just get the range damage. So it's problematic in that sense. But it seems like there's a couple good ideas as far as like reworking it. I didn't know if like you guys had thought about it a lot. It seems like, I mean, like Christian was on there. I know you replied to it. I know you were giving it attention.
I don't know. Like I've been looking at some of that stuff, but I don't know if it's really like should a rework even be done before people get to like play? Like like you see the tanky you have the tanky ranger, right? But what if you have a really evasive Gotchi that's really hard to hit, but it does a lot of physical damage? It would kind of be the opposite of that, right? Like I think there's opposing builds as well, even though there's like some really advantaged builds, there's also the opposite side of that, where if you have a very specific build, you might be able to take that out. I think it takes time to learn all that stuff, though.
I also thought
experiment.
Yeah, I thought it somewhat came down to like the numbers, right? Because you don't really know how potent that stat even is until you know what boost it gives you. So maybe like this forum post is really helpful to like define in original numbers and like based on people's expectations of how they want the game to feel.
Yeah, I mean, if it's like theoretically, if we're looking at it from an RPG perspective, and if for when we were doing these traits, so range damage and physical damage were kind of introduced, I would say, in the last probably week. We were still, because there was so much back and forth between, you know, which stats to include and which stats are even possible in the game, and which stats make sense or which stats are even worth including. Some of them weren't even like worth including as a core stat, and so we kind of had this spot to fill in, I think in Brain, I think it was, and so made the decision to bifurcate it into physical versus range damage, and thus we created this dilemma here, which we've created a potential archetype of the tanky ranger. But I think without it, if we don't have any, like if physical damage is just its own like one trait, then I think some people were also talking about that as well. There's like less balance there as well. You could do damage versus armor, which I think that's one, we had that in like version 2, I think it was, and it just didn't quite seem right to do that, because if you have that trade-off, you can never have like a tanky. You can't have like your tank, your DPS, not really DPS tank, but your kind of your hard to kill tank. He can't do damage. He can't do damage and be strong. So that didn't intuitively, that didn't feel right either. So that's why we introduced ranged versus melee, so that you could have a tank. But yeah, then it introduced the tanky ranger, which if it goes against the like creation of an MMORPG, like that's something, maybe it's like a sin, you can't do that, then I think that's there is a reason there that we would say we'd have to have a look back and say, you know, maybe there is another way to move forward without changing too much. Maybe there's a couple tweaks here and there that we could do that would get rid of this level on the theoretical, like the theoretical level, get rid of this issue. So I'm totally open to that. It's just we need to find that correct balance. Someone was saying a critical strike, which actually, that also was one of the earlier ideas we had, which was this was in like probably back in October or November. We had a version that included critical strike, and it was pretty wonky. I'd have to find it, but I don't know if we deleted it or where it is. But yeah, critical strike could be interesting.
I was thinking about.
People were pretty salty about the critical strike in Axie though, and that was one of their biggest things they were always tweaking, is people were getting upset the critical strike was too sensitive, and then they dialed it back, and then people were like, well, I can never get a critical strike. So there's always it was like this constant cycle of people just feeling salty on one side or the other side about their Axie doesn't have a critical strike, or now has too much of a critical strike, it's too OP. So
yeah,
that was,
and especially if you have melee plus critical strike, it's like, and you have armor, like that's way too OP. So you couldn't have armor, damage, and critical strike all in one build. That would just be way too OP.
Well, I was thinking about making people choose between, like, maybe you have like dodge and crit on one side and it's like luck, and then like on the other side you have armor, and then you make people pick between like melee and ranged on the other side, but then you still don't really get rid of that build. I don't really.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd be what they were talking about was interesting.
Another suggestion I saw was having range as a trait, which that was also a consideration we had pretty early on. But I think the reason we didn't choose that was, one, melee doesn't really have a range. Like, you can't have a sword just extend itself because that Gotchi has a range trait. So you'd have to say, oh, if it's a melee weapon that you have equipped, your range trait would have to do something else. And so that was one of the main reasons we didn't include it. But it would be interesting. But I mean, weapons will most likely have, weapons are going to be melee versus range, and different weapons will definitely have different ranges. But is it worth including as a core trait? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Will there be weapon specific mechanics? Like there's lasso, right? So would we see like something acting like a grappling hook or something, or is it just like in the beginning at least, is it just gonna be like range versus melee and then that's it?
Yeah, it's gonna be a definitely. I feel like we're building a Dota, but like everything is gonna be kind of similar to each other at the beginning, but probably over time you could definitely see some specialization in different wearables.
Yeah, that's nice. And
I can't. There's no way we'll have everything, including like all the different animations and all that, like ready by March. But this could be a process over time, where we think this specific wearable is kind of underpowered. Like, what could we do to make it more useful in the game? And that happens all the time in gaming. Like, that's so common.
Yeah.
And what I think about these trace discussion, I've seen some variations. I think in the end, what matters is people should be able to enjoy different play styles. And what I think is there's obviously your tank, and then you have your damage dealer, whether it's range versus melee. But on the other hand, I think some people enjoy particularly dealing extremely high damages, regardless of being squishy or let's say being easy to get killed, whether it's assassin kind of play or it's like glass cannon that deals damage from range. And then there's always this kind of middle tier damage, middle tier tankiness, like Juggernaut versus I don't know,
Yeah.
just like some archer. And then you have your essentially bullet sponge, like just takes a lot of damage and just survives. So as long as I think we have this different play styles viable, in the end it should be okay. And critical strike is a complete different discussion, I think, because it's always introducing this luck factor, which can be really satisfying and frustrating, which makes it kind of fun. But I kind of like the idea, I would say, just like this relatively high variance in the lands. But yeah, it's also a bit would be nerve-wracking for small investors.
Yeah, you just got to kind of transition there into the variation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put it at 1.8, and I know some people are very happy with that, and some are not very happy with that. And I think both sides have good points. If it's too similar, then there's not a lot of variation. It's kind of boring for the market. But if it's too far apart, then people might get wrecked. But I mean, like we said in the chat, you're gonna have 10 roles in Act 1. So over those 10 roles, and also within those 10 roles, you also have 4 types of Alchemica. So you might roll super low on FUD, but you might get a really good roll on Keck. So they're kind of independent of each other.
Yeah, initially I thought it was one roll for each type of Alchemica, which I thought that was too much for 20% kind of variance. But knowing that it's independent for each of the Alchemica and having the 10 rounds, this sounds more plausible.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. Like some people will get kind of wrecked, but they probably won't get wrecked on all 4. There'll probably be at least one. They're like, oh, thank God I got the alpha. I got normal alpha or a little bit above normal alpha. Like that's probably what will happen in most situations.
And what was the time span for this 10 rolls of Act 1?
Well, Act 1, we're kind of internally we're thinking 2 to 3 years, but I mean it could be longer. It depends a lot, really, just like what the pace of the game ends up being. If the liquidators can't mount their invasion in time, then it would be a little bit longer. I think we could do it as a community and vote when the liquidators, maybe the liquidators could vote when they want to invade or something. Like it could be pretty dynamic gameplay. But I mean, typically you would think a game is going to last, typically they're built to last about 3 to 5 years now. So if we think of Act 1 as the first game, then it would be 3 to 5 years. And then we'd go into the second act.
That's beautiful. I just saw how much more posting has been done in the last couple of days on this traits discussion. That's insane how much work this guy dude, he made like 10 charts. 30
Yeah.
I wish
level
his
of engagement is incredible. honestly.
yeah. I just don't that's crazy. That must be like his actual job or something.
I think it's his main job is like a user experience researcher, and
Yeah.
then one of his hobbies is games. So it's the perfect match here.
Yeah, he really dug this apart. I wish that his solution wasn't so it didn't add so much complexity. Like
What is his solution? Because I haven't gotten to the bottom of it. If anyone,
it splits what it starts to do is add like multiple traits to like tiers. So it like for aggression you have armor on one side, and if you have armor you lose range damage and melee damage. And then if you have high aggression, you get melee damage, but you still lose ranged damage and armor. So you still lose your range damage by being outside the curve on aggression.
this
So
is interesting. Yeah, we were talking with the team who is like helping us balance the game. So this includes Dave and some of the other team, but and they're those guys, and they were saying from their perspective, they're a little worried that when players are progressing, like they're leveling up in the game, they would add a skill point, like a spirit point on chain, and then suddenly they would think like, oh, why did my Gotchi suddenly get a little bit slower than it was before? Like, didn't it level up? But it's actually because they maybe added it to energy, so they got more carrying capacity, but it lowered their speed. They were like, yeah, that could be kind of an issue. People are wondering like why their Gotchi's getting worse. So I think it's important. This is what that's one of the reasons why we added the 3 points off chain, which is gonna you can allocate it however you want. It's a one-way street. You're only getting better as you level up. But if you add that spirit point, it's gonna actually it will reduce one of your traits. So I think it's just important. We need to, when someone has an Aavegotchi, we can tell them like this is your class. This is your archetype that you're playing as. You're playing as the fighter kind of. So if you add this skill point, it's gonna make you more of a fighter, and you're gonna deal less. You're gonna have less armor, or you're gonna deal less range damage or something. Just like making it clear to them, I guess, when they go to allocate that spirit point.
that's a good point. You definitely want to make it like intuitive for them, because they're going to be confused if they're like, not reading through all the literature and everything, which a lot of people are not. And you can't really, unless there's a way to redistribute like your traits at some point, like maybe through like a respec operate like function. I don't know if like that's something you can implement, but
yeah, it'd be good. It would be a great Alchemica sync.
yeah, exactly. Many use cases.
I have a quick question for you regarding. I think a few of the specific collateral types have, or one of the specific collateral types has Alchemica collecting speed, like Alchemica collecting speed boost. Could you maybe just touch on like what does that look like?
I think is it Alchemica movement speed?
It says Alchemica
Uh,
speed boost.
Oh yeah, that means like when you're on an Alchemica, you're gonna move faster. So like right now in the game that we're the stress test, everyone moves slower on Alchemica. That might not always be the case for every Alchemica, but on certain Alchemica, if you have that eye, you're gonna move even faster. It would be like you're on a road, but you're on Alchemica.
that's some alpha right there.
So just to get it right, you're gonna be just like on a road. You're not gonna be less slowed down, essentially.
No, you won't be less. So I think there's an eye that increases your road movement speed.
Yep.
Might be wrong there, but I think there is. And so you would be even faster on a road if you have that eye. But if you don't have that eye and you have there's road speed on one of the rare eyes. If you have the Alchemica speed eye, you're going to move faster on Alchemica.
Wow.
Imagine going through trying to work out how you can plot the best course across Alchemica. That's nice.
Yeah, we're really trying to think like what are the key elements of this game as far as like farming, because there's battle and there's farming part. And we didn't want to make it too OP as far as like literally this Gotchi earns more Alchemica when it harvests or something. Like we want to make it strategic. And so giving people different movement speeds on different Gotchis have different movement speeds on different surfaces, I think is one really interesting way of accomplishing that. Yeah, we'll be doing definitely as we implement these different traits, we'll definitely open them up and let people run around and get a feel, especially like handling and movement speed, all that. It's going to be lots of testing.
I just looking
Speaking
at
of
some of the
stress test,
archetypes.
I think the next one, we haven't mentioned it officially yet, but I think the next one is scheduled for mid-February. And so I believe it was supposed to be the 11th, but I think we pushed it a little bit internally to give a little bit more time for some stuff. So start expecting that around the middle of February. And it's going to be a bigger map.
There's some alpha right there. Ooh, alpha.
This will be one district, right?
Yeah, it's going to be the full size of a district, which it presents new challenges for us because a district is pretty freaking big.
Yeah.
So this is why we're doing this stress test, because this will be the same size map that we actually end up launching the first version of the Gotchiverse with. It'll be one district. So we're going to test it, and hopefully everything will go smoothly.
But it's still gonna be a test district, right?
It's a district that there's been no parcels sold in that district yet.
Yeah, nice. And without putting a timeline on it, what's the timeline? Are you thinking sort of, weeks or months or,
For the first version?
Yeah, first version and also I suppose the first launch, I suppose.
Yeah, so we wrote that in chapter 1, and we're gonna try to stick as much as we can to that. We don't really want to delay. We want to get things out on time as far as we can. It's just a question of, can we support all the players that we're gonna have, making sure that we're not gonna have Alchemica being lost and things like that could be a bad experience. Although, I mean, if we compare it to Axie, like their servers go down all the time, and they did okay. So, but we're gonna try to be better than that. We're gonna try not to have people randomly losing Alchemica or like teleporting around the map. So, the first version is still, I think it's still on schedule for March, and this is going to include Alchemica that will be real Alchemica, and it's basically kind of like a pre-phase of the game. You're going to be able to walk around and socialize and run around on roads, and there'll be real Alchemica you can pick up, but you won't have the farming part yet. That's a lot more complex, so we need to do more testing with that. But it shouldn't be much longer for the farming. Once we have the Alchemica live, that's a huge milestone.
Nice.
Yeah, nice, man. Nice, real nice.
Dota meets RuneScape meets, what is it? Not Bejeweled. It's like the one where Candy Crush.
Farmville, throw a bit of Farmville in there. Throw a bit of
yeah.
World of
A little bit of Clash of Clans. It's gonna be cool, right? Because all of our mini games can just, steal everyone else's ideas.
Yeah, I love CIC. Oh, that was so much fun. I had a little chuckle when I heard the 4 iPads and iPad in the shower and things like that. I didn't go that bad, but yeah, I enjoyed playing it.
Yeah, I hope the Gotchiverse can be as FOMO inducing as, not necessarily, addictive, because we don't necessarily want to create unhealthy behaviors, but definitely fun and FOMO inducing. People are going to want to spend a lot of time in the Gotchiverse.
Yeah.
So wait, waking up at 4 a.m. to pet my Gotchi, that's considered healthy?
I think that's a personal thing. I'm not doing that.
Organic petters are better lovers, I'm just saying.
Oh.
I agree.
Probably. That's a good t-shirt.
But if I make sure that like my Gachi gets pet at the same time every day, efficiently, while also physically petting him, at least once a day, I'm still pretty good, right? No? Is that
I
bad?
think the Gotchi's attached to your nanny, not so much to you.
Oh, true, yeah.
Uncle
All right,
Sam.
I'm gonna sign off here past midnight, but another great hangout. Thanks for all the input, the brainstorm, and all the questions. Definitely, your guys' input definitely helps us make things even better. So hopefully we can finalize this traits discussion fairly soon, or at least have some concrete ideas on whether or not we want to move forward with like finalizing chapter 2 as it is right now.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Could I ask one final really quick question? What do you think the liquidators would earn? Like someone's got no money, they've got, 0.1 of a MATIC that a friend gave them. What do you think, are we going to sort of tailor enough to those people just to get them a taste of the game?
Yeah, I think it would make sense to have some sort of like liquidator like pen where they could just run around in there, kind of a little safe zone for liquidators, and then if they want to venture out of that, they could have their own a bigger world where they could start exploring. But it might make a little bit of sense to have like an area where they could just kind of feed. But yeah, we'll have to see. Might just chuck them in wherever, because it's going to be a big map. There's going to be Alchemica spawning pretty frequently, and it's a big map. So liquidators could do okay, even without their own like little area.
Yeah, cool, man. Cool. I think it's a great way of getting people in, and then they play a bit of time as a liquidator, then they rent a Gotchi, then et cetera, buy a Gotchi. Yeah, mate, you've delivered so much alpha tonight. Awesome, man. Awesome. Loved it.
Thanks, guys. All right, you guys can keep it going. I'll probably listen in, but I gotta do a little bit of stuff before bed here.
Well, I was gonna say I'm actually gonna jump off because I have my son here, and he is indicating he requires food. So I'm gonna have to
food, attention, love. He needs to be pet.
Yes.
Wake up at 4 a.m. to pet your son.
I'm gonna give him so he can know what responsibility is.
Nice.
Yes. All right, guys. I'll see you later in
Yeah.
the room if you want to stay up and keep talking. Webb, can you close the amphitheater? I don't know. Like, is that something?
I don't know if I have permission to do that.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's cool. I'm probably gonna jump off too.
I think no futuristic. If you jump off, I think you kill it. I think someone's got to be an admin to still keep it going. I think, but I'm not 100% sure.
It's cool, man. I think we're wrapping it up anyways, because I do also have some work I have to do too. Have fun with your son, dude. That's awesome that he's being able to visit you.
We were at Dave and Buster's yesterday. It was fun.
I saw that, dude. I love Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, it was good. In Nashville, like it's huge compared to what like I'm used to in New York. Like the same number of games, but so much more space.
Yeah, I feel that.
Oh, I think somebody. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna run, guys. Take it easy. Take it easy.
You too, man. Peace out.
Cool. Thanks all. Good night. As you.
Yep.
Awesome.
Love you guys. We're all gonna make it.
Thank you guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Cool. Peace out.